Today, I wish to consider one sum for a chapter Share Capital Transaction. The sum is from exercise. Observe the sum on the screen. Show the classification of share capital. So we are required to classify the share capital. We have studied classification of share capital in theory lecture 2. Authorized share capital, issued share capital, subscribed capital, called up capital, paid up capital, etc. Now let me read the sum and classify the capital. Authorized capital of a company is divided into 4,000 redeemable preference share rupees 100 each and 5 lakh equity share rupees 100. This is the authorized share capital. Out of this, 4,000 redeemable preference shares and 4 lakh equity shares are issued. So out of 4,000 preference shares, all 4,000 shares are issued. Out of 5 lakh equity shares, 4 lakh equity shares are issued. Company received application for 4,000 redeemable preference shares and 3,600 applications are received for equity shares. So full subscription for preference shares and under subscription for equity shares. Amount called up and paid up was rupees 100 for preference shares and 7 per equity share. So out of 10, 7 rupees are called. Show the classification of share capital. Now I want to demonstrate the classification of share capital. First I will write down authorized share capital. Authorized share capital means company is authorized to issue maximum number of shares to the public, and it is always prescribed in memorandum of association, that too in capital clause. 4,000 redeemable preference shares. So redeemable preference shares 4,000 into 100 each. Authorized equity share capital 5 lakh shares of rupees 10 each. 50 lakhs. 54 lakhs is the total authorized share capital. Now next is issued capital. All 4,000 shares are issued. So 4,000 shares of rupees 100 each issued capital, preference share capital issued. While number of equity shares issued are 4 lakhs into 10 each. So 44 lakhs is the issued capital. Now I want to write down the subscribed capital. We have offered the shares to the public, but how many applications? What is the subscription that has been received? That is denoted by subscribed capital. So we have received subscription of 4,000 shares for preference shares. So subscribed preference share capital is 4 lakhs. But we have received only 3,60,000 applications. Subscription is 3,60,000 shares. So 3,60,000 into 10 is the subscribed equity capital. So total subscribed capital is 40 lakhs. Now, next, how much is called up? On preference share, full amount is called up and it is paid up. So 4 lakhs is the called up and paid up capital. And for equity shares, 7 rupees per share has been called up and paid up. So 3,60,000 shares of rupees 100 is 7 per share is called up and paid up. So 25,20,000 is the called up capital. But suppose that out of this called up capital, on few shares if some amount is not received, then paid up capital is equal to called up capital minus calls in arrears. Or the difference between called up capital and paid up capital is also known as calls in arrears. Here you are not given the information about calls in arrears. So we have presumed that called up capital has been paid up. So I have made a common title for called up and paid up capital, noticing. So this is the total of called up and paid up capital, 29,20,000. This is how this sum is presented. I feel that you have followed this. Thanks to all of you.